This is the Reflective Analysis Vlog. I'm Brenna Anderson, and today we're going to talk about what I learned. So for the short film, I used different angles. I used the medium shot, the extreme close-up, and Dutch angle, and I did a tracking video as well. For the extreme close-up, I did of the pin pad, pressing the numbers. The tracking I did of me walking into the building from the outside. The close-up I did shoulder up of me and Phoenix when we are talking. Dutch angle I did of the vending machine. Another one I did is an over-the-shoulder shot of me putting the money into the vending machine. That's it for the types of shots. These shots together created a story because the way the shots were taken, it made the story get put together because of how clean it was. For example, we went from outside to inside. So I used certain transitions and text to explain what is going on. Because it was a silent film, there was no audio, so I used text in the example of audio. Because I went from a medium shot to a close-up, you got more of an understanding of, oh, this is happening. For example, when I was walking to the door to open it, we went from medium to close to see my hand opening the door. So that's it for all the shots. For the editing, I would say it's sort of fast-paced. You go from me and Phoenix talking in the courtyard or garden to us walking into the building, us trying to get the drinks out of the vending machine. So, yes, they are fast-paced, but with this type of shots that they are, it transitions nicely between the shots, so you still get a clean story throughout the entire short film. Another thing that adds to it is the visuals of, what we filmed, the different shots. Music also adds to it because of the fast music I added. It doesn't make it seem like it's over dramatic, it doesn't seem too fast because it coincides with the audio and music that I added. It smoothly transitions from each shot in each video between the beginning to the end. With that also being said, as I talked about earlier, the transitions. So, they're smooth. The audio goes slowly in and out. The text isn't right in your face. It slowly moves in and out. There's not too much transitions, it is a good medium. The text is also eligible. It's, like I said, it's not too big, it's not too small, it's not just directly in your face. It's enough for what it needs to be. It also doesn't go in and out too fast as well. It goes in, you can read it, and then it goes out. Smooth, but not too fast. It's perfect for the type of short film that it is. So the last thing for the short film is the narrative. So there are the 3 acts: the beginning, the middle, and the end. The beginning would be the main characters chatting in the garden or courtyard, just us chatting, kind of introduction into what is going on with the characters, why they're doing what they're doing. So we're getting drinks. That's the beginning. The middle is the drink getting stuck in the vending machine. It is the conflict. Getting stuck because, oh no, I can't have my drink. It is getting stuck. What am I going to do? The end would be the main character getting their drink finally, it getting unstuck, it finally coming out of the vending machine, and the main character is happy. Happy ending. Next, we're going to talk about the podcast. So, for the podcast, there there's a certain format you have to follow. Intro, your main content, so the topics you want to talk about, and then conclusion or ending. So for the intro, you're going to introduce your podcast name if you have one, preferably do have one. Then you're going to introduce yourself and your guest that you have on with you. Next, you're going to give a little introduction to what you're going to talk about, why it's important, and then you're going to transition into your first topic. So then you're going to talk about your 3 topics. For me, I did misogyny, feminine versus masculine women, and then the lack of sex education. And then finally, you're going to transition into your conclusion. You're going to do a quick summary of, what you talked about, So I talked about sex education, I talked about misogyny, and I talked about feminine versus masculine, do a quick summary of each of those topics, why it's important, the important education that you should take from it. And then you're going to give a little, what can you do to help? So the next is, why did I choose the topic for my podcast? So me, myself, I am queer. I am a masculine lesbian. It is who I am, and I am very deep about who I am. I'm not shy about it. I will be very vocal. So for me, this actually hits home because there are a lot of struggles that queer women in general deal with, not just lesbians, not just bisexual, queer as a whole. I myself deal with some of these struggles, and I feel like it would be important for other women to be able to, relate to the issues, and it's important to talk about it because at the end of the day, we are all human, and I myself am in the queer community. I am a lesbian, I am masculine, so a lot of these issues representing masculine women are stuff I deal with. Misgendering, people treating us differently. It's such a big issue, and I have friends who also deal with the same issues, and I think it's important to educate people on why it isn't okay, why we should be all treated the same. Some people don't feel that way, but I feel very strongly about it, and I will be very vocal about how I feel. So that is why I chose the podcast topic, because it sits strong with me, and it's something I can talk about for a long time because I feel so strongly about the topic. Alright, now we're going to go into the palette and color schemes that I used for my social media branding and my YouTube thumbnail. So mine was kind of hard to pick because of the topic that it was. So I did my best to make a palette, but I did run into the issue of it. It's hard to put queer in a palette together. The only really thing that is with that is rainbow or the flag color. So I just put together a palette of a rainbow and put the visual of the podcast name, and that was my thumbnail. My thumbnail was a multicolored palette. So you have all the rainbows. It was a nice clean red to purple. Wasn't too in your face, Now my social media one, I chose more of a pastel multicolored palette because I didn't want it to be directly in your face. I want it to be kind of simmered, not as bright, because for a thumbnail you want it to be attention grabbing. For social media you do as well, but there are other visuals you need to add that need to be just as attention grabbing, and if the background is too much, then it's going to offset the visuals. So that's why I chose what I chose. You don't want to be too much. You don't want it to be too little. So rainbow is a very good color for gay issues, women issues. It's very gender affirming and geared towards women who are lesbians and who deal with these struggles every day. Alright, next I'm going to talk about some of the challenges I faced while doing my final project. Alright, so we're going to start in order from everything that I did. So, the short film. Some of the challenges that me and Phoenix faced was finding a topic. We had a bunch of ideas in place, but we were trying to figure out what is the best one. What we did to solve this challenge was we just went a walk around the building, seeing what different shots we could do, trying to visualize what we could do with what we had, the amount of time that we needed, making a script. The scripting was a little bit challenging. I am more of a visual person. I need to see it to understand it. So seeing the script, yeah, that's nice, but I need to visualize, like, oh, this is there, that is there. Another challenge for that specific thing was in the editing process. When I was trying to video edit, Adobe did crash on me, which made me lose pretty much all of my progress, which was definitely a challenge I had to face. All I really did was reopen it and get back into it, but unfortunately I had to cut everything back up again, re-enter all the music, all the stuff I pretty much did in the past, however long it was gone, and I had to redo it. It just little setbacks here and there that can mean a lot in the video editing process and in the filming process. The next thing would be my podcast. I had a hard time finding a topic, especially because, like I said, there is a time limit. So I had to find something that I was passionate about, because I can talk a lot if I'm passionate about something. The editing is more of the tough part because it's just all audio and you need to edit in the right moment. But throughout the whole process, I think the biggest challenge I did struggle with was finding a good topic for the time period that I could spend on it. Because, time limits are hard for something you're really interested in because you want to keep talking about it. What I would improve for this whole final and all the different platforms and for all the different components that I had to do, a few main things I would improve on is, for one, I talk really, really fast. So sometimes when I talk too fast, it's hard to chop up in the editing process because I just talk too fast. Another thing would be me stuttering. So it's hard to edit and chop that up, and it makes it sound choppy if you try to sometimes. So I think that's everything I would improve on. Other than that, I think it's good. I'm good with my color schemes. I've always been good at editing. It's been a thing I've been doing since, I think, my sophomore year of high school. So I've been doing it for a few years now, at least 5 years. Not consistently, obviously. I'm not, a good editor per se, but I'm decent for what I need to do. I mean, I edit on my free time as well because I do like streaming and playing video games, and it's something I'm very interested in doing, and I'm passionate about it. The last thing I'm going to be talking about is how all the components came together and connect. I believe that it shows all the techniques that you need to learn for being into the film industry or for video editing. For video editing, you need to learn how to cut, you need to learn transitions, you need to learn audio, audio effects, all the different things that make you a good video editor. It just shows all the techniques that you learned in this class, that you actually learned something. The different shot angles that you learned, the extreme close-up, the tracking shots, the angles, like the Dutch angle, the medium close-up, the long shot, the over-the-shoulder shots. You need to know why each shot is chosen because it has a reason. Medium shots are shown for action. Close-ups are shown usually if for a facial expression, or if you're doing something with your hands, like if you're pressing a button, or there's something important that a medium shot would not capture. That's what close-ups are for. You need to understand what each shot does, why it's chosen, what shot would be best for this type of scenario. That's what connects each of these projects together to create the final. The other thing would be color schemes. Color schemes are important because it makes it look professional. It makes it not too in your face. You want to make sure it looks nice and just all put together. All this to put together, make sure that you actually learned something in this class, that you're just weren't doing the work and not learning anything. It shows that you may have learned something, but can you do it? It's us showing that and proving that we can take what we learned in this class and putting it all together and showing, hey, this is what I learned and this was what I can do with it. It's more than just talking about it. It's proving that I learned all the angles. I learned all the shots. I learned how to film a certain way. I learned how to edit. But it's putting every single one of those together. This has been my reflective analysis vlog. Thank you for listening. And I hope you enjoy all my videos as much as I enjoyed making them. Thank you for watching.